This is Deric again, if you can't see me. So hopefully you guys saw through, through the work that's happening, that TraeAnna just described, that Njuguna just described, the activities are already going on. The action is happening right now to address some of these strategies. The work that TraeAnna described about building the bigger we, bringing community together through education, building across silos through groups like Equity Now, bringing together partners, and challenging the story that's happening about who this community is for, how the economy works through partnering with processes to reclaim land, to build in community business into that organizing process, and things you heard from Njuguna around moving the way capital moves through working with community-based partners to actually shift and better support small businesses of color through opportunities to build anew by supporting community-based entrepreneurs, community-based leaders that are experimenting with different models. So the work is happening. The values are there in terms of equity, in terms of working towards this larger vision of transformational change, and in terms of holding regeneration and place is an important factor. So that's just a little bit of taste of what's going on, I feel like, in our state right now, and there's so much more. But we wanted to offer just a quick heads up on things that are upcoming. As part of the Move the Money strategy, the New Economy Washington Funders Collaborative will be hosting Deborah Fries, as you heard earlier, from Boston Impact Initiative, who will be speaking about how a community-led economy is needed and the role that funders and investors can take, and how risk and reward and wealth building are connected. The People's Economy Lab is leading a mapping project right now to identify actionable leverage points towards a community-centered regenerative economy. You'll see some of the results of that work in the future. The fellowship recruitment piece is ongoing. And we really need your support for achieving this long-term vision, to continue to convene the folks that are working together and continue to align and share a narrative about how our economy can change. One parting word, I guess, from Aaron Tanaka, who spoke last fall, and you may have seen him, was that funders really need to resource people's ability to learn together. And TraeAnna spoke to this too. The people are hungry for this work, and what the heart learns what the hands do. So ultimately, we need to practice this work as well. So I'm going to turn it back to Mike, I believe, to facilitate. We don't have a ton of time, but some questions if there are some.
We have maybe time for one or two questions, and while we're fielding those, we'll also pop in a quick little survey and a chance for people to find out more about some of these upcoming events and other things. So we'll drop that in there, and we'll put it in the follow-up email as well with some of the additional readings and things to think about. But if anybody has a question for any of the speakers, given the time that we have, you can either drop it in the chat or maybe just mute yourself real quick. No one's jumping in just yet, but and maybe as part of a closing for Deric, TraeAnna, and Njuguna, like, what is right now? You've touched on this a lot, but what's the thing that gives you, with everything that's challenging right now, what else gives you the most hope? I think, TraeAnna, you kind of left us with a lot of hope about what's really happening on the ground in the community right now. But, Deric and Njuguna, like, what else is giving you hope right now about this moment in time and pushing this conversation? And there's a question on how can we get involved as well. So maybe you can all just chime in on that.
I think what gives me hope is the tremendous involvement we've seen in the Black Lives Matter movement, social justice movements locally, and kind of the expression of shared values from a large part of the public, and of the willingness to really step out in the public space and to assert those values. I think that's one of the big first steps in people becoming active and shaping a new movement. So that really makes me excited, and to really be exposed to a lot of the frontline community leaders that are really advancing new models and new approaches, and seeing them connect with other leaders in the community. So I think there's a lot of potential and momentum that I see moving, and I think that's really promising.
Now the questions are coming in. So Deric or TraeAnna, if you feel to chime in on those, or, there's a question here about long-term climate focus and, how with the regenerative economy, what types of business support, and how can people learn and get activated to participate?
Yeah, I definitely have easy ways for you guys to get involved. You guys can check out KingCountyEquityNow.com. There is a petition there to sign on for the demands. There's a way to volunteer. There's a way to donate. There's a way to support. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Also, same with AfricaTown Community Land Trust at africatownlandtrust.org. We have a business fund. So if you want to support Black businesses in particular, we have that. We also have our kind of COVID assistance fund that can go to homeowners or renters. So we're doing direct services, direct financial assistance to those three sectors. Business owners, homeowners, and renters. So there's ways for folks to get involved there. And then also, like I said, on the KingCountyEquityNow.com website, you can see the list of other organizations that you can, donate to, support, learn about, connect with, maybe volunteer for. There's plenty of ways to get connected there. And there definitely is a longer term goal around climate. And what I would say, Gregory, is that so much of that is place-based right now. How do we create, very similar to what Boston has done, is an ecosystem, right? So that the waste from one business is going into the next business, is filtering through this business, and then we can use the oil in this other business, right? But creating these zero waste kind of ecosystems around business districts and kind of creating place-based districts that allow for that kind of zero waste infrastructure to come to light. So that's one of the things that I'm very excited about. So I'm very happy that you asked that, Gregory Denton. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that, to look up AfricaTown, all the resources. You can follow, the website listed there, neweconomywa.org. There's a place to sign up for a mailing list for additional opportunities coming up. You can definitely check out frontandcenter.org as well. And so there's going to be more opportunities. Obviously, the events we listed, there's opportunities to get involved with the Funders Collaborative through that as well. And so there's no shortage of things going on. We'd love to have you continue on this journey for us. On the climate question as well, part of the whole objective here is we can't be agnostic anymore on which direction the economy goes. We need to be investing more intentionally on more community-centered models for actually how we, produce and consume and keep ourselves, our livelihoods going. And think about ways to shift our economy more towards care for people, over kind of continuous production for, the generation of profits. So we're definitely thinking about that, and and it's this range of kind of this high level, like what is the movement going forward, and how does it play out in the work, and bridging that work between the kind of community practice, the policy, the investment, and the money philanthropic side too, is kind of the larger vision that we think will take to move us forward in a way that can actually resolve some of the deeply embedded racial and environmental injustices that we're living in. So thanks.
If we can go to the last slide, we're just about at time. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. As if you don't know a lot about SVP, we do have some other events coming up of what we're also doing and additional ways to follow up. We are actually hosting a workshop on allyship for white people and non-Black POC about really analyzing anti-Black racism and how you can be an ally. And we're also hosting a session just for Black individuals of both our partnership and our grantees. If you're new to SVP and want to learn more, we do have a prospective partner happy hour coming up. And we also do generally these monthly briefings where it's a deep dive into either an organization that we're working with or partners and how they're engaged. And we do have one of those coming up in September, which will be focusing on how did one organization shift all of their programming virtually in some of the capacity building work that we do. But after this, I encourage you to take the survey link. We will follow up with a lot of these resources and connection points to all of our speakers. And I want to thank all of them, and especially also thank Shiho for helping coordinate and organize today as well behind the scenes. Thank you all and have a great day.